Okay, so our immediate survival priorities have been met. We have shelter, we now have fire, and we have water. A lot of times, like I said, survival priorities are interchangeable depending on your environment and depending on the weather. With that said, we need to immediately start to think about signaling for rescue, especially if we're lost and we haven't just twisted an ankle and we're going to try to walk out tomorrow, or we're off the beaten path, but we know that a major highway is approximately 5 to 6 miles in one direction. A lot of areas of the United States have major highways that run north, south, east, west, and if you know where those highways are, or you came off of those highways, you can navigate your way out if you have to. So signaling becomes our next priority. Now, we have set up a very good aerial signaling device with our shelter with the 3 black X's on the back of the orange tarp. We also need to think about the other things that we have within our kit that give us the ability to signal. One of the things that I always carry within my kit beyond the 5 C's of survivability, so beyond my cutting tool, my combustion, my container, my cover, and my cordage, is a cotton bandana. If this cotton bandana is orange, then it becomes a signaling device. I can, if I've left a trail so that I could get closer to a water source or a better camping spot with less deadfall or more cover, things of that nature, then I can put this flag on the trail as a visual signal that, hey, I'm right here nearby, start hollering for me when you get here. That's a very good signaling device. On top of that, it gives me the ability to wash, filter, bandage, as well as making char cloth, bundling up firewood to carry back to camp, and many other things. For what it weighs, carrying a couple of these in your survival kit is a good option. Always make them orange if you can. We also have a compass in our kit, and a compass can be a signaling device if it has a mirror on it, as this one does. Now, the one bad thing about mirrors is everybody thinks signal mirrors are a great device, and they are a very good device that can be seen over long distance, especially in open terrain. What most people don't think about or realize when it comes to a signal mirror is, as long as your rescue's coming in a southerly direction, you're okay. You've got about 180 degrees of coverage with this, and that's it. If the sun's rising in the east, you can signal to the east. You can signal southeast until the zenith of the sun. Then you can signal south, southeast, southwest. Once the sun goes down, south to southwest, but you're never going to be able to signal anyone in a northern direction with the sun to your back because you can't catch the sun's light on this mirror, and that's what's important. If your mirror has some kind of an opening on the device that you can look through as an aiming device and use your fingers like this to aim through the V like a gun sight, then you can signal with this device. The important thing to remember about signaling, whether it's audio or visual when it comes to flashes of a mirror or blows of a whistle or screams or gun blasts or whatever the case may be, 3 of anything is the universal signal for I need help. And a good thing to remember with a signal mirror is, because their use is generally going to be on water or near water, signaling from shore out to the water, or possibly signaling aerial, is that most navigators in aviation as well as maritime are at least familiar with rudimentary Morse code. So you need to understand how to flash an SOS. That's a very important thing to understand so that it's not mistaken for the flash of a vehicle mirror driving on a ridge beside an ocean, whatever the case may be. Repetitive signaling is the issue there that you need to understand. SOS, 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 SOS. A repetitive pattern of signaling will get someone's attention, whether it's across water or into the air. Okay, we have another item in our kit that we can use as a signaling device. And it's important, again, to understand that every piece of our kit has multifunctionality. Everything that we have can perform more than one task, or we don't carry it. Save our fire equipment like our mini inferno or our micro inferno and our ferro rod, because the fire gives us a lot of options, and we'll talk about that for signaling in just a minute. So what we want to talk about now is we want to talk about a candling device, which is another one of the 10 C's of survivability, and I recommend that you carry a headlight and not a flashlight. If you're going to be using this light, obviously it's going to be in the dark. If you're going to complete tasks in the dark, you want both hands free. You don't want to be holding a headlight when you can simply put on a headlight. The other option that you want for this headlight is you want it to be waterproof. because if you're operating at night or you're trying to signal for rescue in the rain, you don't want this thing to fail. This is a 70 lume Princeton Tech headlight with a semi-hard case. We carry these on our website, and it has multiple options to include flash, and that's important because now I have a signal for rescue. I have a flashing light that's repetitive saying, here I am, here I am, here I am. It's orange, just like all of my other emergency gear. Number one, for visibility for me, so I don't leave it laying on the ground and not be able to find it. And number two, it just enhances my total visibility if it's on my body and it's orange. So it's important to understand that you carry the right type of light with you so that it becomes multifunctional. Not only is it a headlight, it's also a signaling device. So back to our fire for a minute. We talked about fire being important not only for disinfection of water and controlling our body's core temperature, but also at night just to keep away the boogeyman, to give us comfort, to give us peace of mind that nothing's going to come into our camp. But it's also a device that we can use for signaling. And we're going to talk about that right now. Okay, so the next best signaling device we've got with fire is going to be what's called a smoke generator. I learned this trick from John McCann, good friend of mine, and I teach this to all my wilderness EMS and search and rescue people. I also teach it to my students so that search and rescue people will recognize it. It's basically just a tripod that we've put together. It's lashed together with some of our cordage, our bank line. It has a shelf on it of all deadfall. The majority of this is made from deadfall material so that I can save the resources of the blade of my saw and the blade of my knife. And it's very important to understand conservation of resources. Now what we're going to do is we're going to build a tinder bundle on this platform, and all the pine that we've cut down we're going to stuff up inside here to smolder. Okay, so this is the premise of our smoke generator. We have built a small tinder bundle on the ledge, and we stuffed this thing completely with pine boughs, green pine branches, and pine cones. We want this to smolder before it burns so that it sends a cloud of black smoke into the air. We can ignite this from our fire. We could use one of our emergency tinders like our Micro Mini Inferno, and we could light it off of a cigarette lighter or our ferrocerium rod. What's important is that you don't light this until rescue is imminent. We're not sending a flag up the pole and hoping somebody salutes it. We know that rescue is imminent. We hear something, we hear a vehicle, we hear a plane, we hear a helicopter, we know it's coming close, then we light this. This will last for about 10 to 15 minutes. Hopefully we can get the black smoke to go above the trees in this canopy. We're going to light it up and find out right now.